He's climbed one mountain to get back to world number one, and he's going to have to climb another here against Ronnie, isn't he, if he's going to make it through to the quarterfinals once again. He's got a lot of work to do. Ronnie looking simply stunning this afternoon.
He certainly is, Hazel, and he's gone from 3-2 behind to this 9-3 advantage. But typical Mark Williams, he was up in the Champions Lounge, he could have been leading 9-3. He's always been that sort of character, Mark. You never know whether he's won or lost. He's just so laid back. It's come up quite a bit short here. Ronnie may be tempted with the red to the left of the blue. Something's going to have to start happening for the Welshman here. Well, it wobbled a few times, but it's a cracking pot, and he's right on the blue. He's spotted something on the cue ball that's just distracting him, and if he goes full into the pink, he's got to be careful those reds are not a plant into the right corner. I don't think he's even looked at that, but I think he may be okay. We'll find out shortly now.
Yeah, it certainly will, and it's all about, as you say, flush onto the pink, which is touching the top of the red. They should split. And the two reds were not a plant, and that is not bad at all. The key was that the cue ball really did bounce off pink. I don't think it could have come out a lot better than that, to be honest.
Mind you, you should never have had the chance of that difficult red. It was a careless one from Mark Williams to leave the safety short, or the attempt to just land in the reds. Pink out of commission at the moment. Not a good angle to get on the black because of the red to the right of the black. So
7.
It looks A1. Fairly straight on this red to hold for the black. Might just be able to bounce it off the cushion and up, but it's no problem at all.
11.
Quite a bit of noise. They're at the mid-session interval on the other table, but the way Ronnie has been focused, I don't think he's even going to notice that. Red's just a little awkward. That's the people there just leaving for the mid-session interval. That's okay. There's one to the middle pocket. He's just covered.
80.
A couple of reds to the left corner.
Made a good decision there, and that's one that would give him a lot of possibilities. And as you say, one to the middle pocket. The others are very nicely spread. Nothing out in the cushion, everything in the open. So Ronnie with a chance to extend his lead. Looking somewhat ominous the way that this afternoon has gone.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered who he was playing against. This form, you know, his opponent was going to be sitting most of the frames in his seat.
25.
Still sitting 95% with his pot success rate. That is excellent. Not the best this time.
32.
Still okay, but he'll have to head up for the blue again.
Yeah, Mark would love to come back to the table, but it's unlikely that he will. I think the way things are going, he's already perfectly on the blue.
It's virtually one chance and the frame's over. He's had breaks of 107, 74, 51, 68.
$39.
And now he's right in amongst the black spot as well. That's the other thing.
46.
Playing on the blue earlier, but in a few shots this could
47.
be 10-3.
Couldn't avoid the cannon into that red.
54.
But it's okay. It's a bit closer to the cushion than he would have liked.
55.
And it's just a matter of the yellow, but he's got a position where he can leave himself on. Just where he puts the cue ball here, he'll have a choice of at least 4 reds. Now watch this. He's got a red to the left middle, one to the right corner, and one to the left
57.
corner.
And when you see break building like this, you feel there's no difficult shots on, and the game looks so easy. People at home think, well, I could almost do this myself. The pots, perhaps, but it's just that when his cue ball control is under such tight measures, then really you feel that
65.
no shot that he plays is particularly difficult.
66.
Well, the shot that Mark Williams played wasn't particularly difficult, the safety shot, and he just underhit it, and this has been the result.
71. 72. $69. 80.
Well, every chance of another century, and that would be the 45th century at the Crucible this year. And another £200 for the Haven House Children's Hospice.
55.
And this red in the middle was the more difficult of them as well, so by potting that,
86.
it makes it a real good thing when you make the century. Hit it into the middle pocket at quite a speed there. It was quite a narrow angle, but there isn't much that's stopping O'Sullivan, and we're seeing the full repertoire of shots.
93. 94.
He's made 42 centuries this season, Ronnie. He's made 108 at the Crucible, believe it or not. And there's another one. It just keeps getting better and better for Ronnie O'Sullivan and his army of fans.
103.
And what an exhibition this has been at the Crucible this afternoon. Mark
106.
Williams just can't do anything about this. He has been playing well, but he hasn't had a chance to play. It's as simple as that. And look at the side on that. Look at the side on that cube. And all the way around the houses again.
115.
This is as good as it gets. And look at this positional shot as well. Not only the pot, look at the cue balls finished. Unbelievable break. And what a reception Ronnie O'Sullivan gets from this Crucible crowd. He just keeps marching on, and he now leads Mark Williams 10 frames to 3.
Well, no wonder there's a look of bemusement on Mark Williams' face, because we're now in real danger, or Mark is anyway, of looking at a defeat with a session to spare here. This would be the 5th time, if Ronnie were to do it, that he's done it at the Crucible. It's just incredible.
What can he do? Just plays his shot, sits there and watches. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's the 108th century at Crucible alone. I mean, he's playing at the moment. I mean, this is just dream snooker. We see it now and again in his career where he just plays and he goes into a peak performance and no one gets a shot. This is one of those sessions, and I don't know who the favourite is for this year's championship, but it should be him.
Yeah, but the pace at which he plays when he is on a roll, it just seems to get quicker and quicker and quicker.
Yeah, and so many beautiful shots, like little cannons in amongst the balls, like how he develops a whole break, and even the exhibition shots at the end. You know, he has everything, you know, and it's tough for Mark. He's just got to sit there and admire it, basically, because that's all you can do. He's in complete overdrive, O'Sullivan, at the moment.
Okay, well, as we say, real danger, from his perspective, Mark's anyway, of going home even earlier than he might have wished. But let's quickly fill you in on what's happening in the Trump-Carter match. This is frame 12. They're a few minutes behind, obviously, in their match. This was a few minutes ago. Carter needed that. He also needed Snooker's. He missed it. And Trump coming back in here. And this would lead to the scores being levelled at 6 frames apiece. So after their mini session, as it were, Trump has won 3 of the 4. It's all square, Trump having trailed 3-5 going into this match. So that is the situation. And Ali Carter ruining a few chances, obviously. But we'll head out to the O'Sullivan match once again to see whether he can indeed wrap things up a little more quickly than we'd anticipated.
Well, quite amazing to think it could be one with a session to spare. It didn't seem any way like that when the match was 3-2 to Mark Williams. And John Parrott asking about the favourite for the tournament. I can tell you that with the sponsors Betfred.com, Neil Robertson has been favourite. Who does the winner of this match play? Neil Robertson. So there you are. That's making the bookmakers scratch their heads, because you know, Ronnie like this would be the favourite for any tournament. He hasn't won this match yet, we know, but he's looking very good to do so. Is he going to continue along these lines? He always does well against Mark Williams. He doesn't always win matches. Anyone that's never seen snooker before would say, how does this guy ever lose? Well, he does sometimes. He doesn't always play like this.
And immediately, chance of a long red. And look at the flick on the blue. And he's on the green. He can pot the green. He can cannon into the bunch of reds. When things are going well, they really run for you, because without the flick on the blue, he wouldn't have been on a colour. He's even got an angle on the blue to go into the reds. The green looks the better angle. Well, this time he's played for the one loose red. But you know what he's going to do from this position. He's split the reds. The pink will probably spring free.
5.
Not the best, though. I suppose when he is like this, you just don't expect him to do anything wrong. And he's playing a difficult black with his left hand, and even that floats into the pocket. But where's that cue ball? Well, if he pots one from here, unless there's a plant there, do you know, if there's a plant there, it just shows you when you're going well, there's always something available. And it looks as if that plant, well, he'd have to make it, but it is a possibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's why he played the shot in the way that he did on the black, because it for once didn't seem quite as positive as otherwise. Nicely done, but he's lost the cue ball. And that means it only pots left middle. He's actually quite lucky to be on it in the middle pocket. Just a little hop of the foot there from Ronnie, knowing he'd misjudged that with the position. Slice of good fortune there from O'Sullivan, but as we've said, he deserves it because he's playing so well. No way did he mean to play on the black in the way that he got on it.
20.
Well, not only was
21.
he on the black, he was on it in such a way that he could run through for that red. So everything's just so easy at the moment.
It's about the only piece of luck that he's needed, though, because everything else has been pure skill positionally. His shot selection is absolutely breathtaking at times, and how quickly he sees the shot.
29.
A little bit closer to the pink than he intended. Having to take the blue instead. But even that, look at the position.
34.
Well, it's just a privilege and a pleasure to be sitting here watching and talking about it.
Well, that's right. The players still
45.
like to watch O'Sullivan. Like to see how he hits the ball, the shots he plays, and that's even some of his rivals who don't really want to be watching snooker all that much, but he still makes them turn their heads because he's quite something. He really is.
42.
I've never seen anyone play
43.
snooker like him, and we've got some great players like Stephen Hendry in this tournament. He's magnificent, but even Ronnie at times puts him in the shade, I think, just with his class of
50.
stroke. He was absolutely born to play this game.
51.
Well, he just falls into position every shot. He just comes around the table, and it's just so natural for him. And he's got the perfect angle here. If there's no red available, one more cannon here, and it's end of frame.
And, well, 256 it is now without reply.
56.
And really, anyone could be sitting where Mark Williams is, and it would have made no difference, because
57.
he's not getting a shot. And as a consequence, he's not really doing much wrong. He's just not getting a chance. We've seen it before with O'Sullivan playing snooker at this level, but it's not an everyday occurrence, because the
64.
game is just not as easy as he's making it look.
65.
And after this black is gone, another frame is also gone. Stroked it in, that's the key. Didn't have to use much force. He's very happy with
72.
the tip, happy with the conditions, and clearly very happy in
73.
himself.
Well, look at that shot there. The reds were all tied up. He's flicked the reds, finished perfect on the blue, just as he played it, and now every chance of another century.
78. $79.
The referee has to be so nimble when Ronnie's like this.
87.
I guess you could have a referee, one on each side of the table, Dennis. And they could take balls out of one side and from the other side as well. Oh dear, that's very unfortunate. So it's going to be some shot to make the century. I don't think Ronnie O'Sullivan will be too concerned, apart from the charity, of course. But that's another frame for Ronnie O'Sullivan. With a break of 93, he is quite brilliant this afternoon, and he's surging away from Mark Williams.
9 frames in a row now for Ronnie O'Sullivan, and news just reaching us is that Ronnie O'Sullivan has indeed, John, just been installed as a 3-1 favourite to win the title after this performance.
No surprise there then.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that you cannot play better than that. He is the most talented player I've ever seen, and he's playing as good as he's ever played. And at the moment, as Neil said in comments, it doesn't matter who was sitting in the chair, it make no difference if it was you or Mark Williams or me, or it wouldn't make a difference. They're not getting a shot. He is playing the best snooker I've seen him play for a long, long time.
So from 3-2 behind, what has flicked the switch for him? What's been the difference?
I don't know what the difference is, but something has flicked with O'Sullivan. I mean, we've seen him from the beginning of last week, that, you know, he's at peace with himself, he's totally at ease with himself, and certainly working with the sports psychologist may have a lot to do with that. He seems very content, but he seems also very up for the game as well. I mean, from the very first frame, he was really up for the game, and there's nothing, like when you're sitting there as Mark Williams is in his chair, there's nothing he can do. You know, he just has to wait for his chance. And when you're playing against Sullivan, like in this type of form, you've just got to sit there and Sullivan beat me in the UK final once, 10-1,
yeah.
and I was lucky to get one. you know, because that's how good he is. He makes the game look ridiculously easy. Stephen Hendry, because of all the titles he's won, is probably renowned as the best player in the world, but nobody plays the game like O'Sullivan, and probably ever will.
Can you help me with my vocabulary, Hazel? I used the word awesome the other day for Neil Russell. What's better than that?
Ooh, I'll tell you what, let's get those dictionaries and thesaurus out, shall we?
Yeah, it's always the big argument, who's the greatest player that's ever played the game. Still Stephen Hendry for me, the most naturally gifted player that's ever picked a cue, is Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he's improving on his pot success, up to 96%. Now it was 94 at the start. And you think, hang on, you can only go one way from here, that's down, but not so.
And even there, not a good safety shot from Mark Williams, and every chance now that this match could finish with a session to spare. Ronnie just needs 2 more. There's 2 more to be played this afternoon. Oh, well, he's made a mess of that. It's a great pot. Unlucky not to be on the black. So even Ronnie can't do everything perfectly. So come on, Mark, you've got to put a good safety, a good telling safety in. Try and give yourself a chance. In fact, you can get back down the table, but the yellow's off its spot, so there's nothing over that side of the table to play in behind. I could push a red over the corner here. Yeah, there's a little bit of pride at stake now for Mark Williams. Bit too thick. But even then he hasn't left anything easy. The fact that he's kissed the blue. Well, yeah, Mark's quite a tall lad, but he's just playing the safety. No value in trying to cut this one in. We haven't had many bouts of safety. Might need a few here to sort this out. In fact, I'm going to have the great pleasure on the 12th and 13th of May at the Bedworth Civic Hall of captaining a Ryder Cup style team, and Ronnie's in my team along with Jimmy White and John Parrott, who's in the studio, as we watch that long red go in, not on a colour. And Cliff Thorburn's coming over, and he's going to captain the rest of the world team with the darling of Dublin, Stephen Hendry and Tony Drago. So we're going to have a terrific weekend after the World Championship. It's near Coventry. He's missed.
Sorry, O'Sullivan, what?
Phone the police, Neil. He's missed a pot.
It must have been tight, that one. He had a look at it. It only just went. But I suppose he was going to miss it. It was to the near jaw because it was a close thing. Mark Williams has potted one. First time for a long time. You have to go way back. 28 minutes in playing time, and that can be a long time and a lot of points against O'Sullivan. 28 minutes sitting down.
And this has to go all the way around the table. He has to miss the yellow. It's a little bit awkward. That's usually the case when you've been kept off the table and you're out of your rhythm. When you get a chance, it's not an easy one. See, he couldn't avoid the cannon onto the yellow. And now he's faced with a medium range pot.
7.
There is a possibility that he could get through for the black here. Might be able to hold for the pink. Yeah, he can. But he's floated that one between the reds. But I'm just looking, are they all covering each other into the left corner if he just drops the black in? Beautifully played. They were covering each other. He had to get the cue ball over there. If he just rolls this in, he's not on anything.
15.
So that's a very good shot from Mark Williams.
He made a difficult shot look easy there. This is also, well, he's got to stretch over, bridging over that red, just to get some stun on this, to get high enough to go on the black.
16.
And I think he's played that particularly well also. He might be a bit straight on it, but it was still well controlled. Well, I suppose if you could win these two frames for 11-5, we haven't done it here at the Crucible. A couple of years ago, Neil Robertson, 11-5 down, checked out of his hotel against Martin Gould, and came back and won the championship. Never won the match. But he would have to do that, have to win this frame and the next. Even then, it would be an extremely tall order.
$24.
That was amazing that year that he came back and beat Martin Gould, and then we've seen those fabulous pictures of his mum coming over from Australia. It was brilliant. And he was favourite for this year's Betfred.com World Championship until about
31.
15-20 minutes ago when they installed Ronnie O'Sullivan as favourite. Come on, Mark.
42.
Let's see a nice century from you here.
Well, he's been completely outplayed. This is his best break since frame 4, which was an awfully long time ago.
39.
And a break of 64 in that frame, and nothing
40.
since. But really, that's not even criticism of Mark at all. He's had little chance. Ooh, struggled in, which means that the cue was not as far up table as he would have wanted. This wasn't a clean pot.
47.
And he's got to push through reds here, as you can see. He's okay.
48.
He's on black and pink. And this will be nice if he can score enough to clinch his first frame for quite a long time. 9 frames in a row he's lost.
I think he felt that the ball bounced off the cushion.
55.
It's made no difference this time because there was a red up the table, but I'm sure he played on something below the pink.
56.
Conditions have been perfect for snooker this afternoon. No criticism of the tables whatsoever. It's been something special.
Yeah, well, I had a little knock on one of the practice tables and Stephen Hendry was next to me. I never thought I'd be on the practice table next to Stephen Hendry again at the
62.
Crucible, but we were doing a little bit for the Paul Hunt
63.
Foundation, and the tables are beautiful to play on. They really are.
Now, this is very good for Mark Williams.
70.
First real chance for best part of 4 frames. And he takes it.
71.
Well done, Mark. Every credit to you for this effort.
$78. 79.
Not a good angle. He'll have to play some sort of exhibition shot to get nicely on a ready. Could just drop it in left-handed. But there we go. Watch the white. He had so much check side on that.
86.
Can he double this red or knock it up into the corner to make a possible century break?
Well,
Unlucky, but what an effort from the Welshman. 9 frames in a row he lost. He got one sniff of a chance there, and he won the frame with a break of 86, but he's a long way back at 11-4.
It is, but you've got to say in the circumstances, Ken and John, that is a really good and gutsy effort.
Yeah, as Dennis quite rightly said, pride sort of kicks in that you certainly don't want to have the embarrassment of losing a match with a session to spare, and you know that's what champions are made of. You know, you always want to give you 100%. Doesn't matter. You don't look at the score. You just got, every time you get in, you just got to try and give 100%, and that's what he's trying to do there. And fair play to him.
What's your take on it, John? He's just lost 9 in a row there. You come to the table and you've been given a sniff of a chance, which you take. But what's the thinking when you are that far behind?
It's personal pride, isn't it? You get to that point where you think... the other thing as well is to sit there and be logical about, you know, what he sat there for 9 frames, because for the majority of the 9 frames, he hasn't played a bad shot. He's just had someone play supremely well. I mean, that is a wonderful effort to make that break he's made there when he sat down for so long and to just plot the balls. But it is personal pride. I mean, he could very easily look for the exit door here and say, I don't want to come back for the next session, but he hasn't done it there.
Yeah, and you've always got to think, well, he's made 9 in a row, perhaps I can.
Well, you never know what happens in sport, do you? You don't know. I mean, it's highly unlikely, but what happens if it, you know, it might happen 1 in 1,000, but it might be the day you do it.
Well, we do know one thing for sure. They're coming back for one more session tomorrow evening, but I wonder what the scoreline's going to be. Is it going to be 12? Well, we'll see.
Well, we've had one session already that was 12-4, which featured 2 of the greatest players of all time. 11 World Championships between Stephen Hendry, who won 7, and John Higgins, who won 4. And Hendry was 12-4 up going into the final session, and John said that they didn't really want to be there, to be honest, on that session. I don't think he put any water into his glass or anything, just broke off, sat down. Within a few shots it was all over, because I think 12-4 is considerably too far to come back from anybody. 11-5, you just never know. As I say, we've seen it before at the Crucible a couple of times.
There's not often you see a shot. I've seen them play sort of a miscue, but he seemed to hit it with the side of the tip. I think it's a strange shot then.
I think Ronnie had his back turned, actually. Here it is now. That's got to hit the tip. You got to hit with the ferrule. Yep, I suppose that's legal. But Ronnie was looking the wrong way, and I don't think he even knew that Mark had played a shot. There you are.
Still a bit of a stalemate. No way back up to the safety zone. I mean, if Mark hits a run, you know, only one player can be at the table at any one time, and as Hazel was saying, if one player can win 9 frames in a row, no reason why another player can't do it. But the way Ronnie's been playing, highly unlikely. There's Mark Williams with that famous, well, you have to call it a float shot. The way he floats balls into the pockets at times, and I mean that there, right in the heart of the pocket and on the black. You won't see a better positional shot or pot than that.
Both played some long balls in this match. There was one you have to trust the table for the shot that Mark played. He didn't think there that he could get on a red at all. Nothing particularly. Odd shot that, because where the black goes, it will obscure seeing the white, I think, for him. So many shots. Can't really get to it. Centre ball striking for this. This will be a good shot. Very, very close to the black. Oh dear, that's unlucky. Very, very close.
Well, usually if you get that close, the wobble and run away from the pocket, but he was so close, it just stayed in the jaws. And just have another look at that. He wasn't sure himself, Mark, whether it was in, but I'm telling you what, he couldn't have got much closer. And
Ronnie's looking at... well, he had a look at the red at the bottom of the pack. which would have blasted everything open, but I think he's just had to play the one near the pocket. Got the cue ball out, that's what he's got to do, and done well there. He's avoided hitting a baulk colour.
He hasn't got the angle on the green, so it's a more difficult brown to get into the bunch. Oh, he spotted that one. He did look at this, and if he's finished low on it, he can bring the reds into play.
Yeah, will he go screw, or is he going to play with topspin? I think he's going to screw off the pack. Always a choice. Play with topspin, the reds go everywhere, but difficult to get onto a colour. This has not worked out perfectly for once. He plays the black and goes into the reds. And the pot's got to be given some care and attention in the first place. Yeah, it was missable, and
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
just missed 1 or 2 balls recently, that's all. I don't think he really fancied the shot. I don't think he believed that he would be on red.
Wonderful cueing to knock that red. Almost tight in the cushion. And I think he's okay.
6.
There is one that'll go into the right corner. If he can get past the pink, he can take the easier one. If not, it's a slightly more difficult red that's available to him. No.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
But he's covered that red with the blue, the one that he missed. And the other one to the left side of the table is hampered with the yellow. So he had a bit of a result there, Ronnie. No, he can't cue at that. Yellow's definitely in the way. It's very, very awkward, this. Look how close he is to the yellow. If he...
Yeah, I think it's everything you can do not to foul the yellow with your cue there, never in the pot. My word, that is close. So, Ronnie O'Sullivan playing a safety shot, an awful lot of that. He's been in amongst them most of the time. 1 or 2 of the frames that he's won, he's created something with an excellent safety shot, but it's been all about his break building this afternoon. Now, that was always a dangerous shot to play. He's opened the reds up. Choice of reds to that corner pocket. Mark's shot there was a very positive safety shot, but unfortunately it was short of speed. Didn't get past the baulk line. So with his hand on the table, he's a little bit too good today. I think he was worried about the second red he was going to hit, and all of a sudden slightly lost his momentum. Can't play well all the time. The game just isn't that easy, even though he makes it look incredibly easy at times. So, Mark with a chance again here. Ronnie was a little bit annoyed with himself there. It's the other red that's the problem, Dennis. He didn't quite know where the cue ball was going to finish.
Yeah, I think he's just lost a little bit of focus just at the moment. I mean, with playing so well for so long, it's so easy to do that. But
4.
He'd like to get to 12, I can assure you of that. Oh, Mark.
Mark Williams, 4.
At least he's covered the red, but that's a poor miss. I mean, he just took his eye off the pot. He was just concentrating on the position on the blue. And as I say, he's covered it, so that's one consolation.
Yeah, I suppose we see a pot like that missed, and in the context of the standard of snooker this afternoon, it looks like a glaringly bad shot. There's been so few of those.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
1.
Beautifully played to get on the black. And now a chance for Ronnie O'Sullivan. And we know that he only needs a slight chance. Doesn't have to play any cannons. Those 3 reds near the pink spot will all clear each other. And he's got 3 more easy reds after this.
9.
Well, that seemed to get quite a quick bounce off the cushion there. A little smile from Ronnie.
9.
Good recovery, though.
16.
Yes, and he's got the red up the table by the green pocket, which is a backup if anything was to go wrong.
17.
I mean, can you see anything going wrong the way he's queuing, Neil?
No, not really. Guess you never know, but Sullivan, when everything is right, he just is so
24.
special, as we keep saying. But you know, if he's pleased with the tip that he's got on, and as a snooker player, these things do mean a lot. If he's happy with all of that, which he seems to be, then who knows how far this could lead this run this year in this championship.
25.
And everything clicks. He's very special, and to be honest, he's never looked any different. He plays now like he's always done. No signs of him getting on in years. He's been professional now for 20 years, but he still plays in the same vein as he did as a young man. Because he made a 147 in 5 minutes 20.
22.
I don't suppose he could quite make a break that quickly, but everything else is still there.
Not perfect. That red you mentioned,
49.
not coming to his rescue because of where the cue ball's finished, so not easy now. Good telling safety. Tight on the cushion would make things difficult for Mark Williams. And just talking about that run he had, Neil, when he turned professional, when we used to play the qualifiers at Blackpool, I think Ronnie won something like 57 matches without losing. It was quite an incredible run. And there's a clever shot, pushes the pink safe, gets a good cue ball.
That's right, and that was an intelligent shot. Of course, he would be annoyed. Has he left that red available? No, he certainly hasn't, but still playing the game as it should be played there, putting it out of commission. Williams won that more than Ronnie with a 39-point advantage, so he's playing correctly, which you love to see. Occasionally we see O'Sullivan take on the odd reckless shot in matches when his concentration is not there, but if you're playing at the Crucible, then there's every reason to play the game properly. And as we've said, 12-4, no way back, you wouldn't think. Should he go 12-4, be a long 24 hours or so for his opponent, Mark Williams. As the match finishes on Monday evening. Not quite. That's a bad miscalculation from Ronnie, but I suppose it's not as bad as it might be with no easy red available from hand. wonder whether Mark will try and move the red just further down, quite close to the cushion, and make it that only really the pink and one other red is awkward. What's he play here? I'm surprised he's not playing the bottom red. Looking at playing a cross double, perhaps. Left middle pocket. What a shot. I don't think many players would have taken that on. I can understand why he did. He couldn't leave much except for the red that he's playing. That was excellent. I'll just move the cameraman out of the way. They do a marvellous job here at the Crucible. I mean, there isn't much room for anybody. It's a pressure cooker atmosphere. People in the front row have to
8.
keep very still. There's another one of those shots that Williams dribbles into the middle pocket there.
Dribbles into the middle pocket. I think I prefer floats.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. It's just the way that he plays the shots.
Just be careful there. Leo Scullion coming round to have a look.
I mean, he looks a bit uncomfortable on that one.
Thank you. 14.
Just shows you the importance of pushing that pink safe. Well, having said that, did that kick? Or was it just
Mark Williams, 14.
a bad miss? He hasn't got on the red as intended, which tells me that maybe it did kick. Let's have a look at this.
Don't know, Dennis. He might have just thought he couldn't miss it and was thinking about getting on the red. Didn't seem to jump, did it?
1.
Yeah, must have took his eye off the pot. And the fact that he missed the brown, that was the reason he didn't get nicely on the red, but Ronnie O'Sullivan made that look quite easy. And can he get to the final red? What's the difference? 22. Green, red and high valued colour. He's coming around towards the red. He might just drop nicely in behind it. Needs to keep on running.
4.
Well, he has to use the rest this time. No left-handed shots available. I always think that he's very good using the rest despite his ability with his left hand. Mark's still probably thinking about missing that brown.
In fact, any colour would have done off that red. That's red.
Mark is trying to get his composure back. He's fuming, I think, missing that ball earlier. Very slow out of his chair there.
Which is unusual for Mark. Nothing usually phases this Welsh potting machine. You can do with a good pot here. That good cueing.
1.
And every chance. As we show you this again, if he can get nicely on the yellow and so he could bring the brown out. And that, if it keeps on going, no, it's not going to go far enough, so he'll have to get a good angle on the green to get to the brown.
That's a difficult shot, isn't it, as well?
10.
To get that angle will be tough. He's already taken on a double. I wonder if that's his only chance here. Can't get on the brown into the top left because the pink is there. It's very awkward to see this. Now he's just playing a cross.
13.
He's got the pink out for later on, but the brown is going to be a problem. Could he risk it down the cushion?
Well, he's looking at the scoreboard. And he's looking at the potting angle up the cushion. Not the sort of shot you want to be taking when you're 11-4 behind. No, just a safety, and it looks a pretty good one.
Mark Williams.
Very
13.
good shot from Mark Williams there. Two cushion escape, and the brown can go in.
Yeah, great shot from Mark. He could have easily just taken it on. But he's caught the edge of it. Well, he's still with a chance.
No attempt at the pot there. This has been the longest frame of this session, not surprisingly, with the breaks that Roy Sullivan's knocked in. He's had 107, 74, 51, 68, 128, 93.
Yeah, and it's the only close frame as well, and that was a double kiss, and that was a big mistake from Ronnie, and now Mark has got a really great chance to win this frame.
Four.
Well, fair play to Mark Williams. He made that 8-6 break in the previous frame, and every chance now, if he can get nicely on the pink, to win this last frame of the session and give himself a glimmer of hope.
I think he made a good decision on the brown earlier, not to play it down the cushion. Played the snooker, and he's kept the advantage ever since. Now then, has he got the angle I think he has to get from pink to black?
15.
Very, very enjoyable, this session snooker. It's been terrific stuff. All credit to Mark Williams by winning the last frames of a dazzling session where Ronnie O'Sullivan, for the most part, was absolutely magnificent. The match is still on, though. They're going into tomorrow night's final session. It is